Internet access and telephone lines cut out after protests erupt in Iran. Protests escalated after exiled crown prince calls for mass demonstration. People rallied in the streets of Tehran on Thursday night, witnesses said, marking a new escalation of ongoing protests in Iran after a call by exiled Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi for a mass demonstration. Internet access and telephone lines in Iran cut out immediately after the protests began. The protests represented the first test of whether the Iranian public could be swayed by Pahlavi, whose fatally ill father, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, the Shah of Iran, fled the country just before the 1979 Islamic Revolution and died in exile in 1980. Demonstrations have included chants in support of the Shah, something that would have brought a death sentence in the past, but now underlines the anger fueling protests that began over Iran's ailing economy. Thursday saw a continuation of the demonstrations that popped up in cities and rural towns across Iran on Wednesday. More markets and bazaars shut down in support of the protests. So far, 41 people have been killed in the violence around the demonstrations, while more than 2,270 others have been detained, according to the U.S.-based human rights activist news agency. Iranian security officials fired tear gas at protesters staging sit-in at Tehran's Grand Bazaar. Trump and top Iranian officials exchanged threats over protests roiling Iran. The growth of the protests increases the pressure on Iran's civilian government and its supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Cloudflare, an internet firm, and the advocacy group NetBlocks reported the internet outage, both attributing it to Iranian government interference. Attempts to dial landlines and mobile phones from Dubai to Iran could not be connected. Such outages have in the past been followed by intense government crackdowns. Meanwhile, the protests themselves have remained broadly leaderless. It remains unclear how Pahlavi's call will affect the demonstrations moving forward. The lack of a viable alternative has undermined past protests in Iran, wrote Nate Swanson of the Washington-based Atlantic Council, who studies Iran. There may be 1,000 Iranian dissident activists who, given a chance, could emerge as respected statesmen, as labor leader Lech Walesa did in Poland at the end of the Cold War. But so far, the Iranian security apparatus has arrested, persecuted, and exiled all of the country's potential transformational leaders.